8 grams. Sorry.
What about your friends and family and whatnot? What do they think of fasting? You know, is it?
I think
I think it's strange.
No, I think it's fairly routine in my meeting group of friends.
Okay.
Of course.
Many of them picked it up.
Yeah, friends have picked it up. Parents are different, you know.
Okay.
My mom and dad are not gonna fast because they're my mom and dad, right? So,
but they don't think you're too crazy.
They don't. Well, no, they thought I was crazy long before fasting.
Okay.
So, but in general, most people tend to gravitate. Usually, hear that I'm into fasting, and when you hear the word fasting, you think, okay, Brad's fasting for 3 weeks at a time and up in a mountain doing yoga.
Yeah.
And then the more they hear about it, and when finally someone either finds out someone's fasting or kind of figure out what I'm talking about, that's 24 hours divided between 2 days, then it's like just sort of like standoffish. Well, I could do that, and then they try it, right? But I think originally they think it's something very difficult, very hard to do, which goes back to I was just talking about my blog, how from the emails I get, it's always interesting that the people who are having the hardest time with the fast are the ones who didn't read the book. The people who find the fast easier are the ones who did. I think there's a certain amount of psychology behind whether or not you think you're doing something bad.
Yeah, knowing what's going on in your body.
Totally.
Yeah, I totally believe that. I mentioned this to you last night, actually. I find what you eat the day before you fast makes a huge difference in how hard perceptually the fast is.
Yeah.
You know, if I eat a lot the day before, and if I eat a lot of simple carbohydrates, I find especially, I'm starving the whole next day.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I eat a very moderate day the day before, just well balanced meal plan for the day, I'm not hungry at all the next day.
I find that even when you're not fasting. I find that even when you're not, if you have a huge just sort of splurge day, the next day has a potential to be a
starve
day
the whole day.
What is it? Second one by again?
So Korean. Which does some salon business.
And the bloopers really. Yeah.
It's like for everybody who's watching, there's actually a camera right where you are on a tripod. It's fairly obvious, but hey. So it's just I find the days of overeating tend to lead to further days of overeating. Have no idea
It's
again
a
if it's
perpetual
Yeah.
cycle. Do you think it has anything to do with insulin? Like your
It could. I think there is obviously a strong metabolic component and a strong psychological component. You just sort of you indulge in food that probably tastes great. That's why you indulge in it.
more.
It tastes right in your mouth. You just remember what it was like. So
Yeah, the strange thing is, like, while you're indulging too, like, I find the fuller I get, the more I want to eat.
yeah.
It's this crazy thing. You'd think that you get full and you'd shut off. You wouldn't want it anymore. I find the exact opposite.
I find after a big dinner, if you've been out with friends in a big dinner or celebration, I get home and I crave like toast, but not just like 1 or 2 pieces. Like
Or a big Turk.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
a big Turk like you last night.
Well, Americans won't know it's Turkish delight covered in chocolate. It's
good
chocolate
stuff.
bar. You can only get it in Canada.
It's worth the trip
Yeah,
for
the
that
big,
one.
big Turk.
But yeah, I just don't want like one piece of toast. I want like a loaf, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's I think again, it's probably a combination of metabolic and psychological. I don't know if you can really divide them out. The key is just to recognize it's happening and cut it down.
Cool. One more thing I just want to ask you about. One of the interesting things I find about fasting is kind of reflecting on the evolutionary aspect, how man, it seems to me, probably rolled along that rhythm, or cycles of nothing to eat, and then lots to eat, and nothing to eat and lots to eat. I wonder if you look at it that way at all, or if it's just purely science for you.
I've purely science for me. I've read some of the information from the people who take that approach, the paleo sort of caveman idea. It's outside of my realm. I just don't. I couldn't tell you what paleo era is. So it's cool and
It was a long time.
Yeah, a long time ago. I find the information extremely interesting.
Yeah. Just from a perceptual point of view, it's kind of neat to think, that the science that you found probably has
something to do with
basis in how we evolved to eat.
I think you don't even have to go that far back. I mean, I always tell people, the evidence section of what I wrote about, I just used a lot of traditional religions throughout the years, centuries old, with millions of followers, have multiple different versions of intermittent fasting, from 1 day a week to 2 days a week to every day for a month. Right? So you can use that not only for safety data, but just to go, centuries backwards. And go like, wow, we've been fasting successfully for years. Right? So from a safety and can a society flourish while not eating every single day, obviously. Right? And then when you look at the fact that we study so many subgroups for the fact that they're have better markers
The
of
big
health.
question is,
Yeah.
can a society flourish if they don't fast?
Yeah. Well, we're
Look
like
at ours. We're not doing so well.
I'm gonna really
Health-wise.
butcher one of my favorite quotes from Einstein. It's like, you can't solve a problem using the same kind of thinking that you used to cause a problem. And that's where we are with eating right now, right? We want to eat as much as we can of the foods we like multiple times a day without ever stopping. And we want to find a way to, since that's what caused us to gain weight, we're just going to find a way to tweak that to lose weight. It's not going to work, right? Like replacing a surplus of 5,000 calories from hamburgers to a 5,000 calorie surplus of organic hamburgers isn't going to solve weight loss problems. We got to change it. So yeah, that's the interesting thing.
It's funny though too. Like handles like organic.
Yeah.
They've almost tricked people into thinking that they can eat unlimited quantities because it's healthy, right? So
Totally.
if it's healthy, it can't make you gain weight.
Exactly, and that's the and we do have a lot
whereas
of
like
that.
I would say, organic is excellent because you can probably eat less of it and get more nutritional value.
That's really true. Think of it. Yeah, I've never thought of it that way. I find that the don't concentrate on eating less, concentrate on eating healthier is the blanket catch-all statement when you're a doctor or dietitian addressing an entire population.
Mm-hmm.
You're worried about maybe offending people or certain subsets that might be in a disease state. So it's just this blanket statement you could throw. It's like, when you're interviewing an athlete and they always say, it was a team effort to win this game, etc. Same thing. You interview someone about diet and they're talking to a large group. Don't worry about eating less, just try to eat healthy.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't, it's just a safe answer, not necessarily the right one. So, yeah, that's where we get that whole thing from. But
Well, I know you gotta get home to your family, so
it's time to go home
wrap
and get the
it
little
up here.
girl. Absolutely.
I'll post a link to Brad's stuff on the blog, and if you have any questions for Brad, email them to me, and I'll see if I can twist his arm and get him to
Perfect.
answer them. All right.
Fantastic.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. No worries.
All right.
Talk to you later.